Hi students, we are now covering DC circuits of electrical circuit theory for diploma students. Okay. Last time we covered electrostatics in part A. This is part B, DC circuits. Okay. Let's see the introduction part first. Matter is anything that has mass and occupies space. Okay. Matter exists in three states, normally solid, liquid, and gaseous form that you might all aware of. All matters in the universe are made up of fundamental building blocks called atoms. Figure shows the simplified structure of an atom. Okay, all atoms consist of protons, neutrons, and electrons. The protons, which have positive electric charges, and the neutrons, which have no electric charge, are contained within the nucleus. Okay, here this is the nucleus part. These two are here, and electrons in the orbit. Okay, the mass of proton is approximately 840 times that of an electron. So proton is heavier. A neutron has a mass equal to that of a proton, but it has no charge. Electrons carry a negative charge of 1.602 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. The electrons move around the nucleus in different orbits or shells. Okay, the maximum number of electrons allowed in each orbit is given by 2n square, where n is the number of orbit. Okay, thus the first orbit can accommodate 2 electrons. The second orbit 2 into 2 square 8 electrons. The third orbit will be having can be having at max 2 into 3 max. Sorry, 2 into 3 square, that is 18 electrons, and so on. Okay, right. Coming to the electrical circuit, electric circuit is an interconnection of electrical devices which has at least which have at least which has at least one closed path for the current to flow. Okay, so circuit and network, what is the fundamental difference? Network is also interconnection that may not be closed. Okay, need not to close the network, but circuit, it must be having at least one closed path for the current to flow. All right. Right. Conductors are materials that readily allow current. They have a large number of free electrons. Most metals are good conductors. Silver is the best conductor and copper is next. Copper is the most widely used conductive material because it is less expensive than the silver. Copper wire is commonly used as conductor in electric circuits. Okay. The examples of conducting materials conductors are copper, aluminum, brass, platinum, silver, gold, and carbon. Okay. Insulators are non-conductors, are materials with electrons that are tightly bound to their atoms and require large amounts of energy to free them from the influence of the nucleus. Okay. Examples are plastic, rubber, glass, porcelain, air, paper, cork, mica, ceramics, and certain oils. Okay. Semiconductors, these materials are neither good conductors nor insulators. Their electric conductivity lies between good conductors and insulators. Example, silicon and germanium. Superconductors. Superconductors are group of metals and alloys which have zero resistivity of or infinite conductivity. Okay, the reciprocal of resistivity is nothing but conductivity. Okay. Newton. The Newton is defined as the force required to accelerate a mass of 1 kg by 1 meter per second square. So this is 1 kg. M is F equal to m into a. This is 1 kg and this is 1 meter per second square. Then that becomes a Newton. So simply kg meter per second square. Okay, right. Joule. The unit of work or energy is the joule, where 1 joule is 1 newton meter. 1 joule is defined as the work done by the application of constant 1 newton through a meter distance. Okay, so work done is nothing but force into distance. If the force is in newton, then the distance is in meter, that is newton meter, nothing but joule. Okay, Electricity, it can be defined in terms of its behavior. It classified as either static or dynamic depending on whether the charge carrier is either static or dynamic. Okay. Electric charge denoted by Q. Charge is the characteristic property of the elementary particles of the matter. The elementary particles are electrons, protons, and neutrons. Charge can be either positive or negative and is usually measured in coulombs. The charge of an electron is called a negative charge, and the charge of proton is called a positive charge. The charge of electron is equal to 1.602 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb. The coulomb is the basic unit of electric charge, and it is denoted by C. 1 coulomb of charge consists of approximately 6.24 into 10 to the power of 18 electrons or protons. Okay, because the charge of electron and proton proton, the charge is equal. Okay. Current, the rate of flow of electric charge is called electric current. The unit of current is in ampere. It is denoted by the letter I. Current is charge upon time. I equal to Q upon T, where Q is electric charge in coulomb, time is in a second. That is so 1 ampere is nothing but 1 coulomb upon 1 second. Okay, 1 coulomb per second. That is what I said just now. Let's see one example. A charge of 35 millicoulomb is transferred between 2 points in a circuit in a time of 20 milliseconds. Calculate the value of current flowing. I is nothing but Q upon T, you might be knowing. So 35 into 10 to the power minus 3 upon 20 upon 10 to the power minus 3. How much it is? 1.75 ampere. If a current is given, time is given. Note down these two. Amount of charge is nothing but the product of these two. Okay, quite simple, isn't it? 80 coulombs of charge are transferred by current of this. So this is Q. This is I. What you need now? Time is needed. Time for which the current flowed. Time is nothing but Q upon I. Pretty simple, isn't it? Right, electromotive force. It is the force which causes the flow of electrons in any closed circuit. The unit of EMF or electromotive force is volt. It is represented by the letter E or V. Okay. EMF equal to work done upon charge. Okay. So EMF equal to work done, W upon charge is Q. What about potential difference? When our current flows through a resistor where there will be a potential difference PD developed across it. Essentially, EMF causes the current to flow, while a PD is a result of current flowing through a resistor. The unit of potential difference is volt. The essential difference is this: EMF causes the current to flow, and the potential difference appears across the element where the current is flowing. Right? When there is no current, there is no potential difference at all. Okay, EMF is not like that, right? That's it. That is the main difference, and the unit will be same. The unit of potential difference is also volt, right? So difference, see the differences, relative differences between EMF and PD. It refers to the source of electrical energy, EMF. Potential difference, it exists between any points in a circuit. Okay, first one is source, second one across any element. Okay, it appears across any element in a circuit or network. It is measured in open circuit. EMF is measured in open circuit. It is measured in closed circuit. PD is always measured in a closed circuit. If the circuit is not closed, potential difference, then the current won't flow. At least there must be one closed path, right? When there is no closed path for the current to flow, current becomes zero, and so potential difference also becomes zero across any element in the network, right? It is a cause for the current to flow, right? When there is EMF, then only the current will flow. So it is the effect of current flow. When the current flows, this appears across the element. Okay, right. It is greater than the potential difference in the same circuit. Right. It is less than the EMF in the same circuit. Right. Because this is the cause and this is the effect. Right. So electric power is defined as the rate of doing work. It is represented by P dW upon dt. What is um, this can be written as dw upon dq into dq upon dt. We know dw upon dq, work done by charge, is nothing but voltage, and this q upon t, what is q? Charge upon time is current. Okay, so power is nothing but the product of voltage and current. Hence the electric power is given by the product of voltage and current. The unit of power is watt. So 1 kilowatt equal to 1000 watts or 10 cube watts. 1 megawatt is 10 power 6 watt or 1 lakh watt. 1 lakh 6 zeros means 10 lakh. Yes, 10 lakh watt. Watt meter is used to measure the power. Okay. Watt meter is used to measure the power. Okay. The instrument which is used to measure the power is watt meter. Okay. Coming to energy, it is defined as the capacity to do the work. Okay, it is the total electrical energy consumed over a period. Okay, so electrical energy equal to power into time equal to P into T, where P is V into I, so into time is T, right? What is the unit? Unit for power is watt and the time is hour, watt hour. Okay, 1 kilowatt hour is equal to 1 unit. Okay, one this is called 1 unit of energy. Okay, nothing but 1000 watt hour. If you convert that into watt second, you have to multiply with 3600, because 1 hour has 60 into 60 seconds, right? So watt second is nothing but joule. So this is nothing but 36 into 10 to the power of 5 joules. Okay, or 3.6 megajoules, right? So energy meter is used to measure the energy, okay, that you might be knowing. Coming to the electrical circuit elements, the basic elements of electric circuit, okay, um, they all the elements having two terminals, okay, they are two terminal devices, okay. The figure shows the generic form of a two terminal device where A and B forms the terminals, okay, right. Classification of electric circuit elements. There are basically two types: passive elements and the active elements. Passive elements, the examples are resistor, inductor, and capacitor. Okay. So, what does the passive elements do? They either store the energy or they dissipate the energy. Okay. Resistor, for example, resistor dissipates energy and capacitor stores energy. Okay. Active elements, an element capable of supplying energy is called an active element. So, an active element can be considered as source of energy. Okay, a resistance, it is defined as the property of a substance which opposes the flow of current through it. Okay, it is represented by or the unit of resistance is ohm. So, 1 ohm is 1 volt per ampere. Okay, so resistance equal to V upon I. That's why the unit volt upon ampere. 1 volt upon 1 ampere is 1 ohm. Right. Loss of resistance. The resistance of an electric conductor depending upon the following factors. First one is length of the conductor, the cross-sectional area of the conductor, the type of the material we are going to use, and the temperature of the material. Resistance is directly proportional to the length and inversely proportional to the cross-sectional area. Okay, so R proportional to L upon A, where L is the length, A is the area of the cross-section of the conducting material. So R equal to rho L upon A, where rho is the resistivity of the material. What about specific resistance? The specific resistance of the material is the resistance of a unit cube of material measured between opposite faces of the cube. Resistivity varies with temperature. It is represented by the symbol rho, Greek symbol. Okay. In the unit rho, unit of rho is ohm meter. Okay, because the unit of resistance is ohm. This one is meter. This one is meter square. Okay, so this becomes ohm into meter. Okay, right. Conductance may be defined as the ability of the conductor to allow the current freely through it. So conductance is reciprocal of resistance and it is represented with letter G. The unit for the conductance is Siemens. Okay, that is G is inversely proportional to R. A coil of copper wire 200 meters long and a cross-sectional area of 0.8 mm square has a resistivity of 0.02 micrometer microohmmeter at normal working temperature. Calculate the resistance of the coil. Simple. The formula is rho L upon A. Rho is given resistivity 0.02 into 10 to the power of minus 6 ohm meter, nothing but 2 into 10 to the power of minus 8 ohm meter. Length is given 200 meter. Area of cross section, you have to convert that into meters. 0.8 into 10 to the power of minus 6, 10 to the power of minus 3 whole square is nothing but 10 to the power of minus 6, or otherwise 8 into 10 to the power of minus 7. Okay. So if you do the calculation part, rho L upon A is the resistance. Okay. Substituting those values, you will get 5 ohms as the answer. A wire wound resistor is made up of 250 meter length of the copper wire having a cross sectional area of diameter is given 0.5 mm. Given that the wire has a resistivity of 0.018 micro ohm meter, calculate its resistance value. Yes, we need to use the same formula, but for area, pi d square by 4 that you have to use because the diameter is given, right? So find the area first, and length is 250 meter. Diameter is 0.5 mm. That means 5 into 10 to the power minus 4 meter. What about rho? 0.018 10 to the power minus 6 ohm meter, or otherwise 1.8 10 into 10 to the power minus 8 ohm meter. Okay. So substituting those values, the value of resistance is found out to be 22.92 ohms, right? So temperature coefficient of resistance. The resistance of almost all electricity conducting materials changes with variation in temperature. The variation of resistance with change in temperature is governed by a property of material called temperature coefficient of resistance alpha. The temperature coefficient of resistance can be defined as the change in the resistance per degree change in the temperature and is expressed as a fraction of resistance at the reference temperature considered. Okay, that R naught is the resistance at 0 degree, R1 is the resistance at T1 degree C, R2 is the resistance at T2 degree C, alpha naught temperature coefficient of resistance at 0 degree, alpha 1 temperature of coefficient of resistance at T1 degree C. Temperature coefficient of resistance at 0 degree C is nothing but change in resistance by the original resistance into change in temperature. Okay, change in resistance is R1 minus R0, original resistance is R0, change in temperature is T1, where R1 is the resistance at T1, R0 resistance at 0 degree, T is the change, T1 is the change in the temperature from R0 to R1. So this is what R1 minus R0 equal to alpha naught into R0 into T1. Okay, so if you uh, take this one to that side, R1 becomes R0 into 1 plus alpha naught T1. Similarly, you can prove that R2 equal to R0 into 1 plus alpha naught T2. Okay, so equation 2 upon equation 1 will give you an interesting result, 1 plus alpha naught T2 by 1 plus alpha naught T1. Okay, right. What about alpha 1? Let's say alpha 1 is the temperature coefficient of resistance at T1 degree C. Okay, now you need to apply the same formula, right? R2 minus R1 divided by T2 minus T1 is the change in temperature. Original resistance is R1. So R2 equal to alpha 1 into T2 minus T1 into R1 plus R1, or otherwise R1 into 1 plus alpha 1 into T2 minus T1. So these ratios are equal. If you carefully observe, 3 and 4 are equal. So let's equate the right hand side part of 3 and 4. Okay, this is what you will get, right. So if you subtract 1 from both the equations, from the entire equation, you are left with this. Okay, alpha 1, or otherwise it's, send this one this side. Okay, you will get this equation. Alpha 1 will be nothing but alpha naught by 1 plus alpha naught T1. So temperature coefficient of resistance at T1 degree C is alpha 1 equal to alpha naught by 1 plus alpha naught T1. Right. So a copper coil has a resistance of 30 ohm at 0 degree C, and find the resistance of the coil at 40 degree C. Temperature coefficient of copper is given at 0 degree C. Okay, R naught is given, alpha naught is given. Okay, now the change in temperature T is given. Okay, now you apply the formula RT equal to R naught into 1 plus alpha naught T. Substitute these values, you will get the answer. Okay, so aluminum wire has a resistance of 25 ohm at 20 degrees C. What is the resistance at 50 degrees C? Temperature of coefficient of copper is given at 20 degrees C. No problem. You can use the second formula, R2 equal to R1 into 1 plus alpha 1 into T2 minus T1. Okay. The field coil of a motor has a resistance is given. Find the increase in the resistance of the field at a temperature of 45 degrees C. Take alpha equal to this at 0 degrees C. First you need to find out alpha 1, then alpha 1 equal to alpha naught by 1 plus alpha naught into T1. Then you can use this formula to find the resistance at T2. Okay, right. See, temperature coefficient of copper is given at 20 degrees C. Find its resistance at 80 degrees C. Given that the resistance at 20 degrees C is, this is simple direct formula, R2 equal to R1 into 1 plus alpha 1 into T2 minus T1. All values are given. An aluminum wire has a resistance of 3.6 ohm at 20 degrees C. What is its resistance at 50 degrees C? Same formula, same problem, right? Okay, right. So the relationship between voltage, current and resistance in any DC electric circuit was explained by a German physicist, George Ohm. Okay, George Ohm found that at a constant temperature, the electric current flowing through a fixed linear resistance is directly proportional to the voltage applied across it, and also inversely proportional to the resistance. So I is directly proportional to the voltage applied V. V is the applied voltage, and inversely proportional to the resistance, right? So I equal to V upon R, voltage is V into IR, resistance R equal to V upon I. Okay, right. According to Ohm's law, P equal to voltage into current, voltage is V, current is I, V equal to IR, so I square into R. You can also substitute in terms of voltage by substituting I equal to V upon R. Okay, so V square upon R. Alright, what about energy? Voltage, current into time, Vi into T. So I square RT are upon, or nothing but V square by R into T. Both are equally valid. So relation between mechanical, electrical and thermal energy. 1 Newton meter equal to 1 joule or 1 watt second. 1 calorie equal to 4.186 joules. Okay, that is the thermal equivalent calorie. Electrical to thermal energy, 1 kilowatt hour equal to 36 into 10 to the power 5 joules. Okay, 1 kilowatt hour equal to 8.6 into 10 square kilocalories. Okay, mechanical power to electrical power, 1 horsepower is 735.5 watts or 736 watts. Okay, electrical power to mechanical. Inverse, vice versa will come if you do it the other way. Okay, vice versa relation can be easily found. It came out to be 1.33 HP, but you need to remember at least one. This is better. 1 HP equal to 736 watt. Okay, simple problem is given. Electric heater is rated 1 kilowatt, 250 volts. Find the current drawn and the resistance of the heating element. What is P? P equal to V square upon R. So R equal to V square upon P. So you got the resistance value. Current is nothing but V upon R. Okay, that's it. Okay, we'll stop it here. We'll continue with the resistors in series in the next session. Okay, yeah, thank you. Are you tired of dental problems? Then listen to this. Stop brushing your teeth using plastic brush and chemical paste. Use nature's gifted neem stick for brushing your teeth and stay healthy.